Have you ever felt that your entire life was preparation for a moment you can't even describe with words? I'm not talking about that vague sensation that something is going to happen. I'm talking about that absolute certainty that pierces through your chest and makes you know without any doubt that everything you've lived through until now was calibrated with divine precision to bring you exactly where you are in this moment. Well, let me tell you something that's going to make you tremble. That moment has arrived. And in the next 24 hours of 12/12, the last portal of the year, something is going to happen to you that has no precedent in your entire existence. Something so profound, so absolutely transformative that God himself won't be able to contain himself anymore, and he will scream. He won't cry in silence like he's been doing. He won't observe you with quiet pride from a distance. He will scream your name across the entire cosmos because you finally completed the most brutal cycle a soul can face. Because you survived what should have destroyed you. Because when the entire universe was betting you'd give up, you stood firm. And now, in the last portal of this year, God will officially proclaim what's already true. You are invincible. Subscribe to this channel right now and turn on all notifications. Because what I'm about to reveal about why 12/12 is your moment of cosmic proclamation, why the last few days were exactly as they were, and what will irreversibly change in the next 24 hours will make every second of pain finally have perfect sense. And stay until the end, because I'm going to show you exactly what specific moment made the archangels convene an emergency meeting, why that situation activated a celestial sequence that culminates precisely on this 12/12, and what proclamation awaits you while God screams your name with a voice that makes entire galaxies tremble. Write 12/12 in the comments if you feel you're on the eve of something so big it can no longer be contained. But before revealing what will happen in the next 24 hours of the 12/12 portal, you need to understand something about this moment that changes absolutely everything. And when you comprehend it, every tear you shed will transform into evidence of greatness. Let me explain what 12/12 really is. And I'm not talking about pretty numerology or calendar coincidence. I'm revealing real spiritual mechanics that operate regardless of whether you believe or not. 12/12 is the last portal of the year, the final point where everything you built, everything you suffered, everything you learned in these 12 months closes in a perfect circle. It's the moment where God takes inventory of your soul and determines if you completed the cycle or need to repeat lessons. But here's what makes this portal completely different from any other moment. It's the portal of proclamation. Think about the difference between passing an exam and receiving your diploma in a public ceremony, between winning the battle and being officially declared victorious, between achieving something in silence and the entire world recognizing it. 12/12 isn't when you achieve transformation. It's when God officially announces you achieved it. And here's what nobody explained to you. God has been observing you in silence throughout this entire year. He's been crying with pride when you did what was right, even when it hurt. He's been holding back tears when you chose integrity in moments when nobody saw you. He's been restraining the impulse to intervene because he knew you needed to complete the journey on your own for the victory to be genuinely yours. But on 12/12, God can't contain himself anymore. The emotion is so great, the pride so immense, the satisfaction so deep, seeing that yes, you made it, that it no longer fits in silence, and he will scream. He will scream your name through entire dimensions. He will officially proclaim before the entire universe, this one is invincible, completed the cycle, is ready. And when that happens, when you hear that scream resonating in your soul, you'll finally understand why every moment of pain was necessary, why every betrayal was part of the design, why every time you screamed, "Why me?" heaven stayed silent. They were waiting for this exact moment to answer you with a scream that makes eternity tremble. Now pay close attention, because this is going to resonate in your soul in a way that will make you question if I'm not reading your secret diary. Exactly 5 days ago, between afternoon and evening, you faced something that should have completely destroyed you. It wasn't a small challenge you overcame with a bit of willpower. It was a brutal blow designed specifically to break your spirit, to make you give up, to convince you it's not worth continuing to try. Maybe it was betrayal from someone you considered sacred. Maybe it was a loss you felt like death in life. Maybe it was a situation that exposed your deepest vulnerabilities in the cruelest way possible. Maybe it was a moment where the entire universe seemed to be conspiring to humiliate you. The specific detail doesn't matter. What matters is what you did afterward. Most people, when they face that kind of blow, collapse, give up, become bitter, seek revenge, self-destruct, look for any way to numb the pain because it's too intense to process sober. But you blocked, you moved forward, you worked. No drama, no begging, no trying to make the other person understand your pain. No need to explain to the world why you're right. You simply maintained your dignity, closed that door, and continued building your life as if nothing had happened. And when the angels who monitor human soul development saw that reaction, when they registered that you maintained composure even when you had every right in the universe to collapse, they activated immediate celestial protocol. They convened an emergency meeting. Because here's what you need to understand about how real spiritual evaluation works. Angels don't measure you by your successes when everything goes well. They measure you by your reaction when everything falls apart. Anyone can be spiritual when life is easy. Anyone can maintain integrity when there's no temptation to lose it. Anyone can be kind when they receive kindness back, but maintaining dignity when humiliated, choosing work when you could give up, preserving integrity when revenge would be justified, that reveals something that cannot be faked. It reveals that your transformation is no longer performance, it's automatic nature. And 5 days ago, without knowing you were being evaluated in the final exam, you passed with perfect score. The exam that determines who crosses the 12-12 portal as official proclamation of victory and who needs to wait another cycle because they still lack real strength. Now let me tell you what happened immediately after you made that decision 5 days ago, and this will explain some strange things you probably noticed but couldn't explain. In the exact moment where you maintained dignity when you should have collapsed, Archangel Michael received direct order from God, not routine instruction, urgent order with personal divine seal. The order said, prepare them for proclamation, 5 days. And Michael, who normally supervises spiritual battles of thousands of souls simultaneously, cancelled everything else and focused complete attention on you. And you know what he did? He removed obstacles you no longer need. Think about the last 5 days. Did you notice how certain worries that consumed you simply lost power? How some toxic people naturally drifted away without you needing to do anything? How that anxiety that stole your sleep suddenly dissolved? It wasn't coincidence. It wasn't just time healing wounds. It was active celestial cleansing. Because here's what happens when your name enters the 12-12 portal list. Archangels receive authorization to intervene directly in your reality. They can't change your free will, but they can remove interferences that block your path toward proclamation. That person who suddenly stopped bothering you, although they were persistent before, Michael made them lose interest. That false opportunity that seemed tempting, but you knew something was wrong, it was closed before you fell into the trap. That financial worry that kept you awake, you received mental clarity to solve it in a way you didn't imagine. All of this was active preparation, because what's coming in the next 24 hours of 12-12 requires you to be energetically clean. You cannot receive cosmic proclamation carrying weight of old frequency. And here's the part that will make you cry when you understand. While Michael was cleaning your energetic field, God was personally preparing the proclamation. I'm not using poetic language. I'm not being metaphorical. God literally separated personal attention for you. You know how many prayers God receives per second? Billions. You know how many critical situations need divine attention simultaneously? Countless. The universe is vast, complex, with infinite variables operating at the same time. But at some point in the last 5 days, God paused everything else to focus specifically on you. And it wasn't to judge you. It wasn't to evaluate if you deserve blessing. It was to prepare the scream. Because here's what happens when you demonstrate your character is completely formed. God no longer needs to test you, no longer needs to verify if you'll use blessings correctly, already knows you will. So he can finally give you what he wanted to give long ago, but needed to wait until you were ready to receive it without it destroying you. And that delivery begins in the next 24 hours of 12-12. But let me explain why God will scream when delivering this. Because when you understand the reason, you'll comprehend the magnitude of how much you truly matter. For those who want to go deeper, there's exclusive material in the description and pinned comment. God will scream for a reason you maybe never considered. He'll scream because he can finally give you what he prepared before you were born. Let me explain this in a way that completely transforms your understanding of your own existence. Before you incarnated in this body, before you were born in this specific life, your soul had a conversation with God. And in that conversation, God showed you two possible paths. Path 1, relatively comfortable life, few major challenges, pleasant but ordinary human experience, die without having developed full potential, but also without suffering too much. Path 2, intensely challenging life, periods of devastating loneliness, losses that would break you if you didn't discover strength you didn't know you had, betrayals that would make you question your own ability to judge people. But in the end, if you managed to complete the journey, transformations so profound you'd become a lighthouse of light for thousands. And you know which path you chose? The second one. And it wasn't an impulsive decision. It was calculated choice. After God showed you exactly what you were going to face, he showed you the moments of loneliness. He showed you the betrayals. He showed you the nights crying without understanding why. He showed you everything. And even knowing all that, you said, I choose the difficult path. Because your soul didn't come here to be comfortable. It came to evolve. And here's what God knew but you forgot when you were born. There was 50% probability you'd give up halfway through, 50% chance the suffering would be too much and you'd choose to numb yourself, become bitter, or simply surrender. But you didn't do that. You crossed every dark valley. You survived every night that seemed endless. You kept your heart open even when logic said to close it. You preserved your kindness even when the world gave you reasons to become cynical. You completed the journey your own soul chose before being born. And when God saw you finally reach the point of crossing the 12-12 portal, when he confirmed you went through everything without losing your essence, something moved in the divine heart. Pride. Pride of a father seeing his child complete an impossible marathon. Pride of a master seeing a student exceed expectations. Pride of creator seeing creation reach complete potential. And that pride will manifest as a scream, because God doesn't scream easily. Divine screams are rare, precious, reserved for moments of transcendent meaning, and your crossing through the 12-12 portal is exactly that type of moment. A scream that says, this one is mine, completed the impossible, is invincible. A scream that will resonate in your soul with such force you'll fall to your knees when you hear it. A scream that will reorganize your entire reality. Now I need to reveal something about that scream from God that will completely change how you understand blessings. When God screams, the sound doesn't fade into void. Each divine scream contains specific frequency, and that frequency impregnates reality around the person who caused the emotion. It's like when you scream with joy seeing something beautiful. That scream releases chemistry in your body that transforms your state. God's screams work similarly, but on cosmic scale. And here's what will happen when God screams, seeing you're crossing through the 12-12 portal. That scream will impregnate your energetic field with frequency that literally reorganizes your reality. I'm not talking about magic. I'm describing spiritual mechanics documented in all mystical traditions for millennia. When divine frequency impregnates your energetic field, you begin vibrating at a level that attracts synchronicities. Right people appear at perfect moment. Opportunities arise in ways that seem impossibly convenient. Obstacles that were insurmountable simply dissolve. And all of this begins at the exact moment where you cross the 12-12 portal. But let me be specific about what exactly will change in the next 24 hours, because it's not vague, it's not abstract. These are concrete transformations you'll be able to verify. First, you'll notice mental clarity you haven't experienced in years. That confusion about which direction to take, it will evaporate. You'll know exactly what your next step is. Not because someone told you, but because certainty will emerge from within with undeniable force. Second, financial situation that worried you will show clear sign of resolution. It won't necessarily be completely resolved in 24 hours, but you'll receive information, meeting, or idea that shows you exactly the path to solve it. Third, specific person will contact you, someone who hasn't spoken with you in a while. And although the contact seems casual, it will open door to something significant in your life. Fourth, you'll have revealing dream, not confusing nightmare, but vividly clear dream where you receive specific message. And when you wake up, you'll remember every detail. Fifth, you'll feel physical weight releasing from your chest, literally as if invisible load you carried for years was finally removed. You'll breathe deeper, you'll feel your body lighter. And you know why I can be so specific about these 5 changes, because they're not predictions. They're standard effects of crossing 12-12 portal with clean energetic field and proven integrity. It happens with every chosen one who completes the preparation. But now I need to reveal something the archangels discovered about you specifically, something that differentiates you even from other chosen ones who will also cross the 12-12 portal, because not all chosen ones are equal. There are levels, layers, degrees of preparation and purpose, and you are classified in a special category. Let me explain how this works. Archangels maintain detailed records of every soul that incarnates. Every decision, every thought, every emotion is documented, not to judge, but to understand exactly what type of mission each soul can handle. And when they analyzed your complete record from recent months, they found a pattern that appears rarely. They discovered that every time you face pain, your first reaction wasn't, "Why me?" but rather, "What is this for?" Even when it hurt intensely, some part of you sought meaning before seeking escape. That's a sign of a soul that doesn't just accept suffering. It's a sign of a soul that intuitively understands that pain can be a tool for transformation, and that type of soul can handle levels of responsibility that would destroy others. So they decided when you cross the 12-12 portal, you won't just receive personal blessings, you'll be activated as a channel. Channel for what? To transmit frequency of hope to others who are still in the middle of their difficult journey. Let me be clear about what this means practically. Starting in the next 24 hours, your simple presence will begin affecting people around you in a way that seems inexplicable. Someone will see you, and without apparent reason, will feel that everything will be okay. Another will talk to you about completely unrelated subject, but will leave the conversation feeling renewal of strength. A third will simply be in the same environment as you and will notice anxiety decreasing. You won't be doing anything intentional. You won't be preaching or counseling. Your energetic field, impregnated with divine scream, will radiate frequency that activates hope in others automatically. And here's the beautiful part. Every time you activate hope in someone, every time your presence helps another not give up, God will scream again. New screams of pride, seeing that you not only completed your own journey, but now help others complete theirs. And those new screams will strengthen your frequency even more, creating an ascending cycle. You become more blessed, which allows you to bless more, which makes you more blessed. Infinite spiral upward. But now I need to tell you about specific conversation that happened between God and the archangels about you. Conversation that explains why your transformation on 12/12 isn't just about you. 3 days ago, exactly at 3:00 in the morning, while you slept, the archangels convened meeting with God, and the topic of that meeting was you. Michael presented complete report of your journey, every moment where you chose kindness when cruelty was justified, every time you forgave when resentment was understandable, every instant where you maintained hope when despair was logical. Gabriel analyzed your emotional frequency, showed graph of how your vibration remained stable even when circumstances were chaotic, how you kept heart open even when it would be safer to close it. Raphael documented your physical resilience, how your body endured stress that should have left you gravely ill, how it continued functioning when it should be collapsed. And Uriel revealed something that made God lean forward with total attention. He discovered that in your darkest moments, when you were completely alone, when nobody would know if you gave up, you talked to God as if he were physically present. They weren't formal prayers. They were honest conversations, sometimes with anger, sometimes desperate, but always real. And that brutal honesty with the divine is extremely rare. Most people pray with pretty words, asking for things politely. But you screamed, questioned, challenged, demanded explanations, and God loved every second of it. You know why? Because brutal honesty is the highest form of faith. Person who prays pretty words without feeling might just be following religious protocol. But person who screams at God demanding answers is demonstrating they really believe there's someone listening. Your anger with God was proof of your faith in God. And when Uriel presented this at the meeting, when he showed records of your honest conversations in the middle of the night, God smiled. Not small smile, wide smile of someone who finally found what they were looking for. And it was in that moment that God made decision that will completely transform your life. God decided to reveal himself to you in personal way. I'm not saying you'll see figure in clouds or hear audible voice from heaven. The revelation will be much more intimate than that. In the next 24 hours of the 12:12 portal, you'll experience moment where divine presence will be so palpable that you won't have any doubt you're being sustained by love that transcends human comprehension. It could be during meditation. It could be walking on the street. It could be in the middle of completely mundane activity. But there will be instant where everything stops, where you feel presence so powerful, so loving, so absolutely certain that every doubt you had evaporates instantly. And in that moment, you'll hear without words, I was here all along. Every tear, every scream, every moment where you thought you were alone, I was holding everything so it wouldn't collapse. And you'll cry, not from sadness, from deep relief of finally knowing with absolute certainty you were never abandoned. Now let me reveal something about the specific gift God prepared to deliver to you at the 12:12 portal, because it's not generic. It was personalized based on your unique journey. God observed what your greatest sacrifice was in recent months, that thing you gave up not because you wanted to, but because you knew it was necessary to maintain your integrity. Maybe it was relationship you loved but knew was toxic. Maybe it was financial opportunity that would compromise your principles. Maybe it was dream you had to let go because timing wasn't right. Whatever you sacrificed to maintain integrity, God saw and prepared compensation that not only replaces what you lost, but exponentially exceeds it. And that compensation arrives in the next 24 hours. But here's the twist. It won't arrive the way you expect. It won't be an improved version of what you lost. It will be something completely different that makes you realize what you sacrificed was just preparation to receive this. It's like when child cries because broken toy was taken away and cries without understanding they took it because they're going to give infinitely better new toy. What you lost was broken toy. What you'll receive is upgrade you didn't even know existed. And when you receive it, when you understand God was preparing something better all along, the relief will be so immense you'll fall to your knees, thanking even for the most painful moments because you'll finally understand. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. But now I need to warn you about something that will happen immediately after you cross the 12:12 portal, and if you're not prepared for this, it might confuse you. In the 48 hours following the crossing, you'll experience what mystics call fertile void. Brief period where it seems nothing is happening externally, but internally massive reorganization is happening. It's like when you renovate house. There's period where it seems there's only chaos and destruction, but it's because you're demolishing the old to build the new. During those 48 hours, strange emotions may arise. Maybe sadness without apparent reason. Maybe irritation with small things. Maybe deep tiredness that makes you just want to sleep. It's not regression, it's final release. Your energetic system is expelling last residues of old frequency to make complete space for new frequency. And that process can be temporarily uncomfortable. But after those 48 hours, when you wake up on the morning of the third day after the portal, you'll feel different so dramatic you'll have to verify if you're really the same person. Absolute mental clarity, renewed energy, deep sensation of peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances. Certainty about next steps, connection with intuition so strong you'll know things without knowing how you know them. That's your new permanent state. It's not temporary peak that will disappear. It's your new baseline level of functioning. And now, the moment has come to reveal the complete truth about who you really are and why 1212 is specifically your portal. Before incarnating, your soulmate agreement with God, not just about facing difficult journey, but about activating specifically at the 1212 portal of this particular year. Why this year? Why now? because there's movement happening in collective consciousness of humanity. Inflection point where entire civilization decides if it evolves or regresses, and that decision is being made now, in these months, in this specific year. And for humanity to choose evolution, it needs living examples that transformation is possible. It needs people who went through darkness and emerged not just intact, but stronger. It needs beacons of hope that prove suffering isn't the end, but forge. You are one of those examples. You didn't just choose difficult journey. You chose to complete that journey exactly now in this critical moment of human history so that your transformation inspires collective transformation. Your crossing through the 1212 portal isn't isolated personal event. It's part of massive activation of chosen ones who are awakening simultaneously around the planet. And when all of you cross, when all are activated as channels, when all begin radiating frequency of hope, the balance shifts. Fear loses power, hope gains strength, and humanity chooses evolution. You're not just living your life. You're participating in cosmic operation that determines future of entire species. And God screams because finally, after preparing you for so long, you can assume that role. So chosen one, now you know the complete truth. The next 24 hours of the 1212 portal aren't just pretty calendar moment. They're personal turning point where everything you suffered finally reveals its complete purpose. You'll receive clarity, you'll receive signs, you'll receive personalized gift, you'll experience divine presence in undeniable way, and you'll be activated as channel of hope for others. All of this begins in the next 24 hours, and when you cross, when you feel transformation happening, when you perceive screams of divine pride impregnating your energetic field, you'll finally understand why every second of pain was worth it. Because it wasn't punishment, it was forged. And now you emerge as weapon of light in the moment where humanity most needs to remember that transformation is possible. For those who made it here and want to deepen in these celestial knowledge about how to cross the 1212 portal consciously and amplify the activation that's happening, there's specific material that costs less than a pizza and comes with complete audio book and 5-minute meditation guide as special bonus. Access is available in the link in description and pinned comment of this video. If you recognize that the next 24 hours of 1212 are your moment of transformation and you're ready to cross the portal consciously, write 1212 in the comments to amplify this frequency of divine activation. Subscribe to this channel and turn on all notifications to receive more revelations about how your chosen one journey operates at levels that transcend common understanding. Share this video with someone who also feels they're on the eve of something big, because chosen ones need to activate together for collective transformation to happen. And before you leave, click on the video appearing on your screen right now to discover how your activation at the 1212 portal connects with greater cosmic mission that involves all chosen ones on the planet. Together, we are stronger.